Hi guys, welcome to a brand new edition of the CNBC TV 18 Investment Guide. I'm Sonia Shenoy and with me is Anuj Singhal, and every week we pick up one theme, one sector, and we do a complete masterclass on it to understand whether you should be buying, selling, and what are the key internals to track. And today on our radar is the auto sector, something that is of keen interest to everyone, right Anuj?
It is, and Sonia, it's a sector which is ending almost 4 years of bear market and has started a new bull market, or at least that's what a lot of people believe. But we need to see if indeed this rally is going to be sustainable or not. So today, of course, we're trying to tell you how to analyze auto stocks and how to pick auto stocks. So let's start CNBC TV 18 Investment Guide. Okay, before we invite our guests, Sonia, let's first talk about the sector itself, because we have seen a demand pickup and we have seen the stock pickup as well. So why don't you take us through the sector first?
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just give a sort of auto 101 to try and understand how to track the sector as a layman, right? First, the basics. One needs to understand the company's basic strengths. So what are the key products that they sell, whether they sell cars, they sell two-wheelers, or even commercial vehicles or tractors. Is there any unique selling proposition of the company? Now, the four important things to track in this is product, technology, scale, and distribution. So just to give you an example, the unique selling proposition of, say, a Maruti is value for money offering and a very strong distribution. Now, for the commercial vehicle segment, for example, we track two things, the e-way bill data and truck freight rates. Now, when you track truck freight rates, what you can understand is the truck operator profitability and the utilization rates. Now, where do you get these truck freight rates? Generally, we pick them up from the IFTRT website. Now, IFTRT stands for the Indian Foundation of Transport Research and Training. And for rural demand, we track government data, government investment in rural India, crop prices, monsoons, to try and get an understanding of both agri and non-agri income in rural India. Now, let's drill it down to the numbers. What are the key numbers to monitor in the auto sector? The first thing to track, and most important, is wholesale and retail sales. In very simple terms, wholesale sales is the number of units that auto companies sell to dealers, and this parameter is used to calculate the revenues of the auto company. Now, this data is provided every single month by companies on the exchanges and on their websites, and retail sales is simply the number of units that dealers sell to a customer. Now, why do we track retail sales? It helps us understand consumer sentiment and demand trends. Another very important parameter I track is current dealer inventory. It helps us, understand what the future demand scenario could be. Now, the comfortable level for companies to keep inventory is about 30 to 45 days. If you want to understand the pricing power of a company, all you have to do is calculate the net realizations. And in simple terms, net realizations is the total sales upon the total volumes. It is just the average selling price basically of a product in a company. Now, the net realizations indicate how pricing power is picking up and what the product mix is for the company, whether they are selling more number of high value or low value products. Finally, let's talk valuations. What is the most important ratio to track? The most used valuation metric by analysts is price to earnings ratio, which is PE as it's commonly called. It varies in a band depending on the auto demand, the cycle and the trends. The idea for investors is to catch the stock when demand is depressed and valuations are at rock bottom. What are the ballpark valuations? Two-wheelers generally trade at a PE ratio of 15 to 18 times for Hero and Bajaj. TVS trades slightly more expensive at about 20 to 22 times, and Eicher trades at about 25 times because they have the commercial vehicle piece. The one that commands the maximum premium is Maruti because of its brand and its distribution reach. It generally trades at 25 times 1 year forward PE. The tier 1 auto ancillaries trade at around 18 to 20 times 1 year forward PE. So these are the key things to track to understand the auto sector.
Okay, Sonia, thanks a lot for that. And our experts today, of course, are Rajesh Kothari, Managing Director of AlfAccurate Advisors, and Hitesh Goel, Associate Director at Kotak Institutional Equities. Rajesh and Hitesh, welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for joining us. Now, Rajesh, let me come to you first. What are the different parameters to track when you pick an auto company for investment?
I think one very important thing is, automobile, as Sonia has rightly mentioned, is one of the largest industry globally, and it contributes significantly, about roughly 7 to 8% of India's GDP. So one very important is the cycle of the sector. Now within automobiles, you have a two-wheeler, you have a passenger cars, you have a tractors, and you have a commercial vehicles. And each sub-segment of auto has its own business cycles. So if you can, for example, if you can plot the 3-year rolling compounded growth, what we do normally is that instead of doing the YOY growth on every month and every year basis, we take the seasonality out. And to do that, therefore, you use the 3-year growth, rolling growth. And once you put the 3-year rolling growth, it becomes very easy for you to analyze whether you are buying at the bottom of the cycle or whether you are buying at the peak of the cycle. Once you plot these numbers, and then you identify the companies, and then you analyze the market share of the company, that's one of the most important parameter, I think, apart from various other factors which Sonia has already mentioned, is the business cycle. Where are we in that cycle? And second important point, once you identify where are we in the cycle, how far it is going to take further to come out of the cycle. Say for example, typically, if you have a 2 to 3 years of degrowth or a flattish growth, then after that you will see the growth. So how many more quarters of pain? And therefore, if you look at the downtime, for example, in last 20 years, we have 4 down cycles. And in 4 down cycles, generally, how many quarters each cycle lasted? For example, in car industry, the average downtime was about 8 to 9 quarters. And if you look at the current downtime of passenger car, again it is roughly about 6 to 7 quarters. So we are nearing, from the, what I would say the worst print perspective, the reporting perspective, and then the things are going to improve from here on. So these are the 2 important things from the viewer's perspective in the cycle of that sector.
Okay, all right. So important to track the cycle in which the sector is currently trading at. And Rajesh believes that perhaps the down cycle that we've seen for many years has now come to an end. That's interesting. Hitesh Goel is also joining in. He tracks the sector very closely. Hitesh, what about you? What do you look for before investing in auto stocks? What are the key parameters?
Thank you, Sona, for inviting me on the show. Good afternoon, viewers, Anuj and Sonia. When we look at the sector, actually what is important is actually look at the cost of ownership, specifically in the two-wheelers and the car space. Usually the cost of ownership of the vehicles have not increased much because, the car companies or two-wheeler companies don't tend to increase prices much because that's how they increase the penetration levels, because the income growth should be higher than your increase in the cost of ownership. Then you see penetration or the vehicle volume starting to increase, right? So what we have seen historically is that generally the cost of ownership increased by 1 or 2% CAGR on an annual basis, and the income levels were increasing at 10-12% CAGR, because of which you could see a 10 to 12% kind of CAGR in the industry in terms of volumes. Last 2 years, what we have seen is that there is a sharp deterioration in the growth rates and GDP growth rates. So income levels have not increased much. If you look at rural incomes also, they have been stagnant. Urban India has not seen much increase in income levels as well. And on the other hand, we have moved to tougher regulations. So if people who are tracking the sector would know that we have moved to BS6 emission norms, Euro 6 emission norms. We've tightened the safety requirements in cars and two-wheelers, which has led to a sharp increase in the cost of ownership levels. So to give you a sense, I think last 2 years, the cost of ownership level have increased by 10 to 15%. Another point to note is that government has actually increased taxes on the fuels, and state governments have increased road taxes, which has also led to an increase in prices of vehicles. Which has actually dented the demand quite a bit, especially the new car demand. On the other hand, if you look at the used car segment, actually that has been growing pretty well because the GST taxation rates were brought down from 28 to 18%. So the cost of ownership levels actually came down there. So way I see the sector is that now that regulations are behind us, and because of COVID.
Go ahead. Okay.
Sorry. Because of COVID, there is a escalation in personal mobility as well that we have seen, right? So people are preferring personal vehicles over public transport. That's a trend we have seen in China, South Korea, and that is what is happening in India as well. So I think from the next 2 years point of view, it will be more of a catch-up. In the sense, yes, the GDP growth rate is not that great. We have been impacted. Fiscal situation of government is quite weak. So the GDP is not going to escalate in a significant manner. But on the other hand, we are coming from a very bad cycle for 2 years. So I think by FY23, we will reach FY19 levels in terms of volumes for auto industry, especially in the cars and the two-wheeler side.
Okay.
Commercial vehicles will be even lower because in commercial vehicles, the truck operator profitability is quite weak.
Sure.
Another thing I wanted to highlight here is that financing also plays a major part
We
in
can,
terms of
Hitesh,
how auto sales will plan out.
Yeah, what we'll do is, I just want to toss that question to Rajesh because Rajesh, you do believe that this is the correct time to invest in auto stocks. But, just trying to play the devil's advocate here and getting some of Hitesh's points in, demand has been hit quite hard because of COVID. Cost of ownership has gone up, road tax has gone up. So, the situation looks a bit bleak for these companies as we head into the next couple of months. Why do you still believe that this is the right time to invest in the stocks?
I think market is always forward-looking, Sonia. Market is never backward-looking. And probably these are the precise reason why the stock went down, because market knew that over next 2 to 3 to 4 quarters, the volume growth is not going to be very strong. But after that, from third quarter onwards and fourth quarter onwards, as economy normalizes, the volume will come back. Because one, please understand, the urbanization is rising. Number two, the penetration remains very, very low. Number three, because of COVID, more demand for the personal vehicle, rather than the public transport, correct? And if you look at the cycles, and I'm reconnecting to the dots where I left. If you look at Maruti, for example, Maruti became 5 times from FY13. Like we bought first time Maruti in FY13, and what was the market cap? Market cap was roughly about 30,000 crores. Current market cap, it has almost become 4.5, 5 times in 5 years. So that kind of potential what you can make when you buy the sector when it's a little bit into the pain. When everything comes good, and if you buy at that point of time, you make only normal returns, 4-5% compounded. But if you want to make 15, 18, 20% compounded return, you need to buy the stocks at the time when sector is little bit still under pain, but you know that over next 2, 3, 4 quarters, the pain is going to be sorted out. And that's the reason why we believe that both, we currently, own, Maruti in our portfolio. So please put a disclaimer on this, and also Mahindra in our portfolio. And that's the reason, we are positive.
But, Rajesh, just a counter question then, for something like a Maruti, while the stock price may have fallen, the valuations never fell, right? I mean, so, in terms of price to earnings, even after correcting from its highs of 10,000 to 5,000, purely on price to earnings, it was still available at same multiples. So then how do you take that decision?
Very good observation. And generally what happens when the earnings collapse, PE never collapses because stock price comes down, but the earnings also reduce. So your actually PE remains the same. And similarly, when earnings goes up, PE doesn't go as PE do not go up in the same proportion because the significant rise in earnings. So what we do is that we look at the cyclically adjusted price to earning numbers and cyclically adjusted price to book numbers. So we take 5, 7, 10 years adjusted numbers for EPS, adjusted number for valuation, and then you see from current levels, do you have any upside or not? And from that perspective, since the growth is going to start maybe after some quarter, maybe 1 or 2 quarters, the valuations are still, they are not very cheap, but they are, I would say they are fairly kind of a price, but then you have a good runway from the earnings perspective, which can make money for investors.
Okay, Hitesh, what about you? What are the most important valuation metrics to track for the auto sector, and how are the valuations stacked up at the moment?
Yes, so I think Rajesh's point is well taken that you need to buy stocks when the scenario is quite tough, right? And that was the time in March when the valuations have corrected quite a bit on auto stocks. We had also upgraded the sector per se. Most of the stocks we had upgraded where the valuations were quite attractive. What I do is actually I have a DCF based approach in all my companies, which helps me give me an intrinsic value to the stock, right? But market tends to actually have a very simple framework of looking at PE ratios for companies. But historical P ratios may not be the right way to look at the stocks because, like Rajesh pointed out also in Maruti's case, we've seen a significant re-rating in the stock. It was not because of the demand of auto industry being robust in the last 5 years, but because Maruti gained a lot of market share in the PV segment by launching the new vehicles, especially the Brezza and Baleno, which had actually helped the not only profitability, the volumes also increased because Maruti gained market share. It helped profitability significantly because of the return ratios of Maruti improved quite a bit. But on the other hand, when the competition started to hit with new compact SUVs from Kia, Hyundai, MG Motors coming into the market, we have seen Maruti's margins coming off, right? So earnings have come down quite significantly. And it remains to be seen whether Maruti has the right product portfolio in the SUV side to really stack up with the competition. If you look at the global portfolio also, there's some lacunae in the SUV side. So I would not be very positive on Maruti at these levels because like Anuj has also pointed out, and I would also like to tell you that in our numbers, Maruti is already trading at 25 times on FY23 basis. So it's not cheap at all. It's a very expensive stock. So this won't be the right time in my view to look at a stock like Maruti. It's a great franchise, great company, have a lot of respect for that. But I think valuations will also need to be seen before buying a stock.
Yeah.
Just to complete my point on the auto cycle, I think it's a fair point that auto demand should rise from here because we are coming from a trough levels. But like I said, we should not be very bullish in terms of a very strong CAGR in the market for next 5-6 years. Because next 2 years will be more of a catch up, and then we move more to a 7-8% kind of trend growth. Unless our GDP growth starts moving to 7-8%.
Sure. Got that point, Hitesh. And that's a great point that you made. A great company may not necessarily be a great stock at that price. We need to take a break, and we'll continue this conversation on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching CNBC TV 18 Investment Guide. We are discussing auto sector with Rajesh Kothari of Alpha Credit Advisors and Hitesh Goel of Kotak. Now, Rajesh, let's talk about something which a lot of people ultimately want to know. If given a choice, what would be one stock that you would be bullish on for next 5 years, and explain to us why.
Well, I think, very recently, we added Mahindra in our portfolio. This is the stock, if you look at from 2002 to 2018, it was a very, very great run for Mahindra and Mahindra. But after that, in last 3-4 years particularly, there were a lot of investments in the international companies, and also a significant, I would say, not major focus on their non-tractor side of the business. But if you look at, Mahindra and Mahindra, and if you look at the tractor industry volume growth, if you look at the first cycle, there are 3 cycles, of the tractor industry, FY02 to FY03 to 07, where tractor industry grew at 18% plus compounded volume growth, and Mahindra became almost, 4.5-5 times in terms of the stock price. Then came FY09 to 12 cycle, where industry reported again double-digit growth, and Mahindra gave you almost 3 times returns in 3.5-4 years. And the recent cycle of FY14 to FY18 kind of a cycle, again Mahindra gave you 40% kind of a compounded annualized returns. So we believe that the first most important, the tractor industry, rural economy is expected to remain very, very strong. In this industry, unlike car industry, there are limited number of players in the tractor industry. Mahindra is a dominant market share with a 42% in terms of volume. But we also look at something called profit pool. What is the profit of the industry? And what is Mahindra's share of the industry profit? And that is roughly about 62%, and that's huge number. So 62% in terms of profit, 42% in terms of the volume share. If you plot the last 10 years Mahindra's market share, it has remained constantly at 40% plus, something which is a very, very important to note for viewers, that M&M has remained the dominant position since last 10 plus years, correct? Tractor industry is one of the largest pie of its profitability mix. If you look at the Mahindra's breakup of the total profit, because people get lost in the consolidated PE, but actually one need to do sum of parts. What is a core business? In core business, what is a tractor business? The tractor business is an underlying return on capital employed of 45% plus. Can Mahindra core business trade at Maruti's multiple of 25 times? Maybe yes, maybe not, only time will say, but that's a huge upside which is possible in the core business.
Okay.
If you look at the second business, the UV business, they are doing a lot of, just let me complete in, just in one more minute. The UV business and LCV business, they are doing a lot of portfolio rejig. But I think the third most important is the prudent capital allocation, because now they have decided not to put any money where they think it is not a strategic sense for the company, which is a huge free cash flow negative for the company. And that is a big thing from the valuation perspective, which can lead to the significant re-rating in the company's valuation with a 5 years plus view.
Okay, so that's the one stock that Rajesh is betting on, Mahindra and Mahindra. They've also decided to have a very strict capital allocation policy. They're not investing or putting any fresh money in loss-making subsidiaries, which is what the street likes. But Hitesh, what about you? I mean, what are the key stocks, one or two stocks that one has to hold in their long-term portfolio?
I think from here on, I think Bajaj Auto is the kind of stock you need to own. I think there's a mispricing on the, on the security right now. The stock is trading at 15 times 1 year forward, which I think can lead to can go through a significant re-rating. The reasons are twofold. First is the premium motorcycle segment will come back once the COVID situation normalizes, because there's a huge premiumization which is happening in the urban India in the motorcycle segment. The company is also tying up with Triumph to look at the Royal Enfield segment. So they have a very good product portfolio on the premium motorcycle segment. Second point is that the export opportunity is very huge. So if you look at export potential in Africa or LATAM or South Asia, which are the key markets where Bajaj is actually done very well. They build a strong export business out of India, which not many companies can boast out of India. There, the penetration levels are like half or 1/4 that of India. So there's a good long-term 15 to 20-year story in exports, which has not been adequately priced in the stock. In my view, the valuation re-rating can itself be around 20-25% from these levels in a stock like Bajaj Auto. And the company has also launched an electric scooter. So they are very well placed in terms of shift towards electric in the scooter segment whenever that may happen. And the company doesn't have much market share right now. There's no market share of in scooter segment for Bajaj right now. So there's an incremental market share to be had once the industry starts moving to electric scooters as well. So I think that is a stock to own, in my view. That's my topmost pick at these levels. Valuations are attractive, and there's a significant opportunity in the export side and the premium motorcycles.
Okay, all right. We would have loved to chat some more, but gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by and speaking to us on CNBC TV 18. So that was a complete lowdown on the auto sector. But you know what, Anuj, it all boils down to whether you're ready to take your car out or not.
Yeah.
And if it rains like it rained this weekend, then one wonders whether, you should just walk these days rather than buy a car.
Yeah, that's the only option, right?
Or swim.
Or swim, yes. That I think infrastructure is a problem. I think you've presented those stats about number of people owning cars. I think we need to have first those kind of roads and infrastructure in place.
Absolutely. All right, guys, it's curtains down on this edition of Investment Guide. But next week, same time, same place, we'll be back with another masterclass on another sector and theme. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching CNBC TV 18.